welcome to the show. I'm Jenna Morton.
And I'm Tosh Taylor. And on today's show, we have a longtime friend of mine. I've known Krysta Jay for, it's got to be close to 15, 20 years now. Krysta is with us today because she has a really great company, and we're excited to talk about an event coming up that she's doing. I'll tell you what the name of the company is in just a second, because I don't want to get it wrong. It's KristaJay's DJ and event planning service. She also is the proud owner of Mountain Rose Lodge as well. And coming our way in April is the Eat, Drink, and Be Married event that Krysta is putting together for brides-to-be here in, well, across the province, I'd say. Okay? Mm-hmm. Well, I've given you everything that she needs to talk about. We'll see you next week.
Enjoy your next 20 minutes by yourself.
Krysta, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Yay. So what do we start with? I think we should start with maybe quickly the transition. People will know your name and your face because you worked with me on K94.5 for many, many, many years. Mm-hmm. And then you left to start your own DJ company, and you have just like crazy blossomed since then. And I want to talk about that because I think you're incredible.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so I started my DJ company in 2012, so 11 years ago. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm like, someone asked me the other day, how long have you been a DJ? I'm like, since I was 17.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say how many years that is because that's a long time. So I was working at the radio station, and it kind of just went hand in hand. I mean, we love music. Obviously, mm-hmm. That's one reason why we're in radio. We love to talk. We love people. We love events. So I became a DJ on the side to kind of supplement the income and all of that. And then it just exploded. So I was like, okay, I can't keep doing both. Mm-hmm. So I had to choose, and I chose that.
Yeah. So was it being at people's weddings that made you realize, well, I could do this?
Like event planning?
Yeah, the event planning. And I mean, it's not just weddings you were going to. You DJ at everything. Every time I show up at something, you or one of your staff is there. Yeah. So what kind of brought that into the play?
Yeah, I mean, when I was DJing, I'm the one that like has to keep everybody on the timeline. So I have to be like, all right, it's time for the cupcakes. Okay, it's been like an hour. Let's get going. Let's do this. So I was already kind of event planning weddings while I was there. So I branched out into doing more, I guess, helping behind the scenes and then getting the timeline put together. Because a lot of people, especially brides, it's their first time getting married, most of them.
True.
So they have no idea what they're doing. And I get it. I just planned my wedding, and even halfway through planning mine, I'm like, oh my goodness, I forgot about this and that and this. So there's a lot to do. And I am very OCD, so it's like I have a checklist, I have to follow that. If I don't, then I get all messed up in my head. And I feel like there's probably other people out there like that as well, so they need someone to just keep them on par.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then hospice, I went to volunteer there, and they needed an event coordinator. So that's pretty much where I started the event coordinating for them, and then branched off into my own.
It's funny how that works, eh? Yeah.
You get suckered in as a volunteer, yeah. Yes. And it's a great cause, obviously.
Yes.
So I was really proud and pleased to be able to do what I could do for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then it continued to snowball into having your own venue.
Yeah, so luckily I've got a really good man, Dave, and he puts up with my stuff. And there was one day where I was like, okay, I just want to get a venue. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, so we're going to buy a venue. We looked at a couple places. My realtor took me to hundreds of places. We were deep in snow in some, we were up in attics in others, so it was crazy. And then I found this on Kijiji. It was an old church on Kijiji of all places. And I went over there. I sat down in one of the pews at the time, and I was like, this is it. This is home. Like, I love it. The feeling was just amazing. I called Dave. I'm like, you need to get over here like 15 minutes. Like, get over here now. He's like, okay, I'm coming. Yeah. So he got there, and then, he was like, yeah, no, I saw your face, and I knew that you found your place. And I was like, cool.
Wow.
Love that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And where is it located? Because a lot of people will know what church you're talking about. Like Greater Moncton area, people will know which church it is.
Yeah, it was the old New Hope Church. It's hard to say the old new, but so it's on Homestead Road, about 5 minutes from Magnetic Hill, between Moncton and Salisbury.
Okay, excellent. So it's nice and close. Great venue to have you still out of town, and the people that come to your wedding don't have long cab rides to take home.
There is that, for sure.
You have to look into that. You have to think about your guests when that comes into play. Absolutely. Okay, so then for a few years prior to COVID, you were doing this event, Eat, Drink, and Be Merry.
Yes.
So this is an event where people that offer things that people can use to plan their wedding. So caterers. Do you put other DJs in there?
If they want to, yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you're a good person. Photographers, things like that. Let's talk about that, because this is your first year back in how many years?
Since 2019, so 4 years.
Yeah. Okay, so it's time.
It is time, let me tell you. I created this event because I find wedding planning can be really stressful. And a lot of wedding shows are like super bright. They're like trade shows. It's not intimate. It's not exciting. It's stressful, I guess, is a way to put it. There are some wedding shows where you're literally pulling dresses out of other girls' hands because you want that dress, and I'm just like, that's not what I want.
No.
I want somewhere that can be fun and memorable, and you can be with your girls or your guys. And a lot of people are like, oh, this is just for brides. No. And we always point out the fabulous men that do come along, because they don't come along often, but they do. So yeah, that's pretty much what it's about, where it's, it's low key. There's some light music going on. There's hors d'oeuvres, there's cocktails. It's just a memorable night, really. And you can also book with a ton of amazing wedding vendors in the area.
Right there, all in one spot.
Exactly.
Can you talk a little bit about the vendors and even what's changed? Because I know there's turnover in the industry, but there's also shifts and trends, especially after years of a pandemic. So what are the kind of vendors that are coming out now?
Ooh, that's a very good question. I don't think it's overly changed. I mean, for DJing, I've noticed that a lot of people don't want to DJ anymore. They want a playlist, and they're just going to put it on Spotify, and that's totally cool. And if you want to go and rent equipment, that's great. And I've helped people who come to me and they just rent equipment from me and a playlist, and that's it. That's all they want, because they can't have that many people at their wedding, or they don't want people that could have COVID at their wedding. So I find things are getting a bit smaller than before. So, but the vendors, I don't think much has changed. I mean, we still need cakes or cake pops. I guess we've branched out into different ways of having a cake. Like, we didn't have a cake at our wedding, we had a cookie bar, because we don't like cake. Yeah. I like some cakes, don't get me wrong, but so there's donut walls, which is new. Photo booths are really still huge, which I thought it was going to be, maybe just a little trend. No, like, people are still going nuts for those. You still need, not everybody needs a wedding planner, but you still need somebody to kind of guide you along the way. If that's somebody online, wedding websites is huge right now, where you just upload a website with all the details. So if things change, everybody gets notified by the website. So that's really cool. But yeah, I don't think too much has changed. I just think things have gotten smaller. But I did just do a wedding that was like 250 people. So not all of them are getting smaller, but most of them. Yeah.
I noticed, and I don't know if this is something that happens here because I've been married forever, but just this past summer, we were at my brother's wedding in Alberta, and they had it at a golf course, and it was this beautiful location, but they have to do literally everything. She had to bring in her own plates, her own utensils, everything, and that apparently in Alberta is completely normal. What? Like, you have to do all of the work, and that they got married. I don't know. They live in Edmonton, but they got married in Canmore, so a few hours apart. They had to rent They had to rent a storage unit in Canmore, and they would drive down like once a month and offload stuff into it.
Oh my Lord! Just
insanity. Like, now she probably went a little over the top. It was an amazing event. But then you just put everything on like these websites, and then people buy the stuff that you bought for your wedding. That doesn't happen out here, does it? Yet?
Yeah.
It does. Okay.
Yeah. You can find like full wedding kits online right now that people are selling, and it's just like, I'll take that and that and that and that. So I've been building my repertoire as a wedding planner, but that might be one reason why you'd want a wedding planner, because when I had a wedding out in Bucktouche, it was in a tent. The lady was from BC, so she had everything shipped to me. So I'm the one that had to get the U-Haul and put everything in it, have it packed all and ready, and then I went there, set everything up, and did everything. But you're right. I mean, the caterers did bring the plates and the utensils.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one I haven't heard on.
Oh, blew my mind. Blew my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Unless
a
it's
new
like
one.
you're putting up your own, you're renting a tent, and but most caterers, at least here locally,
you would think like the golf resort would at least give you the amount of money you're paying to use their venue.
What about tables and chairs? Were they included?
They did get tables and chairs. They did, but she had like table runners. She had to get like the chair covers. Like, it was bonkers. It was bonkers.
If you've got the kind of money to do that,
Sure.
great.
Yeah.
But if you don't, then I would highly suggest a wedding planner or decor, somebody that already has all the stock, because you're only paying really laundering fees, and that's it. And then you don't have to worry about reselling it in the end, which is a hassle.
Yes.
I've had a few friends of mine that have dropped off all their wedding stuff at my place. They're like, just take it. I don't want to deal with anybody online right now. Because they're saying they're going to show up, but they don't.
Right, it's very true.
So-
or you get the, is this still available?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you don't hear from them
Would you
again.
take $50 for that item that you've listed for $150?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. Or I would have put $50.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so true.
You think going into it, oh yeah, I buy these things, I'll resell them, but the hassle of reselling items is definitely not a game for everyone.
No,
I mean,
absolutely
there are
not.
some unique things though that you might want to pick up along the way. Like for our wedding, we had a Hocus Pocus book, from the movie. So that's what we had everybody sign because it was a
that's cool.
Halloween wedding,
Yeah.
which it didn't look Halloween-y at all, but I had to have a little bit in there,
Yep.
so that was the book. So you want to pick up those unique things, but when you're renting like U-Hauls and everything to get your wedding going, you might want to replan that a little.
Yeah, there's things that maybe you're going to cut back on, or you're going to find someone to do the work for you. So what kind of vendors do we have at Eat, Drink, and Be Married? Photographers?
Ooh, yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Caterers, desserts and cakes. Oh my goodness, DJs, venues, videographers, travel agents.
Travel agents.
Honeymoon.
Yeah, I never took a honeymoon, so these things I don't think of.
I went to Halifax for 2 days. So I get it. And I think I spent more going to Halifax for 2 days than I would have gone down south. But anyway, I digress. And who else? Candy. Salons. We've got
Okay.
some salons in there.
Has there ever been someone that approached you to be a vendor that you were, like, it was just something you never would have thought would tie into a wedding?
One of my sponsors, Sean Mayo, your neighborhood realtor, had approached me, and he's pretty much the reason why I started to redo this, I guess, because he was like, I want to sponsor this. And I'm like, it never dawned on me that a realtor would want to be in a wedding show, but it makes sense. I mean, 3 of the biggest milestones in a relationship are getting married, getting a house, having kids.
True.
I do not have Planned Parenting at my place, but we've got the first 2 covered. After that, you're on your own. So that one was really, really cool that he approached me and wanted to be in it. We have Five Spice Catering, who's one of our other sponsors, and they are providing all the hors d'oeuvres for the night. So there's a watermelon feta salad, right?
Nice.
I'm going to pronounce all of it wrong, so I'm just going to say it's like cheese and tomatoes on a stick. Caprese?
Yes.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And we have beverages being served up by the Coverdale Center. Eat, Drink, and Be, or East Coast Bride is providing candy bags for everybody. So they're going to be bright and colorful, and we all love candy. Who doesn't want to go home with that? Who else? We've got Dawn Ann Dress Design, and she's going to be doing 2 fashion shows. So it'll show us kind of like what the trends are of this year. So that's really exciting. She asked if my daughter wanted to be in it too. So I don't know. Maybe I'll throw her in there and
Flower girls.
right?
It's a thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But she likes to steal the show. So I don't know if
be
we'll
your
get her off
daughter.
the stage, right? She'll be partying all night long.
Yes.
And we have Casey and Co, the Travel Connections. So that's one of our travel agents. And she's pretty cool. Like, she has the dream job where she takes photographs of you at your destination wedding or honeymoon. So she travels with you. So it's kind of a peace of mind too, right? So if things go wrong, you've got your travel agent right beside you. They can fix it.
This is true.
Right?
I
So-
actually didn't realize that Karen was doing the travel agent part of it as well.
Yeah.
Wow. Smart move.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So those are the sponsors. We also have Lux Salon doing permanent jewelry. I don't know if you know about this, but it's like welded on jewelry. So on your wrists or your necklace or anklets, I'm assuming.
Okay.
But it's a really big trend right now for best friends to do. And since most of the best friends are going to be there, it makes sense.
Man, it sounds like a blast, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
I think it's always interesting, even if you're not in like a wedding planning mode, just to see what the different trends are and what the different vendors are that are available, because maybe you've got a retirement party or, a big milestone birthday, 40th birthdays, 50th birthdays. You can throw a wedding-like party anytime, really.
Yeah, renewing your vows, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Any kind of event. And even if you don't have an event, I mean, who doesn't want to go and eat cupcakes and food and browse all the vendors? Because, I mean, there's a lot of them that are there that are selling jewelry or food or whatever. So it's kind of more of a girls' night out. It is catered to the bride, but there's still giveaways too for people who are coming along and aren't a bride. So I'm not alienating anybody. That way it's all encompassing everybody that wants to go out.
Yeah, exactly. And I did attend one of them years ago, and
Hey, you were my host for my first one.
that was the first one.
Yes.
Jeepers creepers, time has flown. I remember how bad my feet hurt that night, actually. But there was a surprising amount of grooms there as well. So yeah, you definitely need to make sure that they're taken care of.
Absolutely.
Because I know Jason had nothing to do with planning our wedding. So the fact that they even get the man in the door sometimes I think is really impressive. Yeah.
Well, you know, and they're your partner, and I think most of them nowadays do want to be a part of it. And I generally get the guys to book the DJ.
Yeah.
Because the wife has said, hey, you have the DJ and one other thing to plan, your suit. That is it.
Your suit. Yeah.
Right? So I usually am the ones that deal with the men. But I've actually had a lot of guys that reach out and they're planning like a surprise for their bride or whatever. So a lot of them want to come to this show to find out certain little knickknacks they can find and buy and get. And yeah, so it's awesome.
Yeah, that is cool.
I'm wondering, what are some of the kind of trends that you're seeing right now in weddings in general?
Ooh. Outside of the box, ideas for food. I find like people are serving up soups in martini glasses, or salads in cups.
Really?
Yeah, it's different. I love it. I think it's really cool because you can add a lot of dimension and colors to your wedding just with a drink or with a food. So a lot of people are like, oh, a beverage wedding. I've never thought of that before. But it doesn't even have to be alcoholic because you can still make mocktails and have tons of colors on the tables. So that's a big one. Country weddings are still a huge thing, always will be, I think, because you want to have that down home feel. And because we're on the East Coast, I mean, we've got a lot of farmland, we've got a lot of country, we've got a lot of trees, so you can incorporate all of that. Confetti is, most people are becoming very environmentally friendly, so they're punching dead leaves.
Yep.
And using that as confetti so that it's biodegradable. So I really love when people are incorporating environmentally friendly things. And a lot of people are buying their dishes. They're not buying throwaway dishes anymore, unless they're like cardboard and recyclable or something like that. But we really like the fact that they're using real plates, real spoons, real forks. It feels better when you're eating with that anyway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It brings
Right?
up the class level.
Has anybody tried those wooden spoons? I'm like, your lips get stuck to them. I'm like, no, I'm good, thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, straws are a really big thing. Hand sanitizer, a lot of people are still handing that out as a party favor,
Okay.
which I think is cool. That you can get totally awesome scents. Yeah.
Is that still a big thing, the wedding favors? Like you need to
Yeah.
give your guests something?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just evolving as to what it is, right?
Yeah, it doesn't, and a lot of people aren't doing like big things. Seed packets are really big right now too, so people can just go and plant their love and let love grow and all of that fun stuff. We did bottles of wine. Yeah, that's easy, right?
Yeah.
Just take it, except for when they're walking out at the end of the night, and some of them drop them.
Oops a daisy.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
gotta keep that in mind too. Didn't think that one through, but yeah, so party favors are definitely still a big thing. And the thing that I love about the vendors around here is that there's a lot of people branching out and creating unique and personalized gifts. So we have a couple that are going to be at the show as well, and they kind of incorporate your theme, your view, and they personalize it for each of your guests. And it's not that expensive. It's actually probably cheaper than getting something off of Etsy or whatever. So I think that's really cool. That's something newish, I guess, that is in our area. With COVID, I found a lot of people were trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to make money from home? And we've got our kids home, especially from school at that time. So a lot of people branched out and got real creative. So yeah, yeah. No, I think it's awesome.
What did you give as a favor?
We gave a lot of things just kind of through the course of the
Oh.
day, I think. We had candy on all the tables, so there was like various there wasn't a candy bar, like the candy bar was at each table. Our seating chart were little frames that your picture was in the frame and it told you what table you were going to be at, so you got to take that with you. Yeah, it was really fun. It was a lot more work in the end than I thought it was going to be. And my husband and our maid of honor and best man will tell you that there was a certain look on my face the night before the wedding. Like, no, I need to finish this. And the hardest part of that was actually sourcing the big piece of metal to put all the magnets on.
Oh.
Doing the seating plan and finding pictures of people to put in their frames wasn't so hard, but finding the big sheet of metal and then getting it up there was, it took work, but it was work that I wanted to do. But
Right.
that was one of the gifts. We did have wine with our own kind of personalized labels. Yeah.
I need to get invited to these
And-
weddings that give out wine.
And then we had a few other things too that weren't necessarily favors for everyone, but that walked away. We had parasols. It was my maid of honor was living in Toronto, and so she was able to source a lot of things for us and bring it down. And so we had those like lovely Chinese parasols, and it was a summer wedding, so we had like a bucket of them, and I think 3 of them came back with me. But it was fine. It was okay that they went. I wasn't planning to keep a huge collection of these umbrellas.
Well, it's true. Yeah.
And I think we're down to 1 in the house right now. But yeah.
Oh, that's survived a long period of time.
It
so,
has, yeah. And it was a nice little anything that we bought as decor or whatever was something that I was like, oh yeah, I would like to have this long term in the house, or I'm happy if it walks away or gets gifted.
Yeah, it can go either way.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes.
What did you give away?
trees.
Awesome.
Yeah, we had little saplings. So I think there's 2 that still exist. I don't know. I think we've been married 15 years, and we have one in our front yard that actually made it to Ontario, lived most of its life in Ontario, and then when my grandma sold her house, they dug it up, and my mom drove it out to me.
Oh, wow.
So because they all left, so Jason and I didn't get one. They were all gone. So it was kind of, so now it lives in the front of our house, and actually when we did Christmas photos last year, we took a photo in front of the tree, because it's now as tall as the kids. So
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Amazing.
the trees were cool, but we were thinking the same, like along the seed line, right? Like it's something that is, environmentally friendly. It's not really a waste. We're down to 3 minutes. Oh, Charles. Okay. Where is the event? Date and time. How can people get tickets?
All right. So Eat, Drink, Be Married is April 14th from 7 till 10 p.m. It's at the Coverdale Center in Riverview, just off the main
Runnymede.
road.
Yep.
It's not too far. Tickets are on Eventbrite. They're $20 in advance or $25 at the door if we don't sell out. But if we sell out, then we won't be letting anybody in at the door. You can follow us on Facebook. We have Eat, Drink, and Be Married, and an event page as well for that. And I think that's all.
And with your ticket, like you said, there's hors d'oeuvres, there's drinks. So it's a good night. Get everybody together and head out and get your planning done. Even if you're not engaged yet, it's cool. You can start thinking about things.
And even if you're not engaged or don't plan on being engaged, it's still going to be a fun night out.
Yeah.
Totally. And if people want to know more about your venue, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so mountainroselodge.ca is the website for that. And you can also find us on Facebook, and we're kind of updating everybody as we go along for all the renovations and everything. So, and we're already starting to book for next year, which is awesome. But we're filling it fast. Like I had about 7 people show up in one day, and every one of them booked. I was like,
amazing.
oh my goodness. Yeah. So yeah. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, thank you so much for coming in and telling us about your event and how great you're doing and all that jazz. And we'll have you back on, I'm sure of that.
Well, thank you very much.